G'day folks, Links here, and welcome back to a new episode of Nomifactory. I've been quite busy in the world. So I've actually realized in addition to a to-do list, I kind of really need to be keeping track of what I'm doing between episodes as well. But basically, to-do list is looking a lot happier. So I do want to get the Ender alloys passived. I have Vibrant and Energetic in the blast furnaces, and I have Dark Steel over there. I just need to look at doing End Steel, and I don't know if I need to do Pulsating Iron and Conductive Iron. I don't know. We'll see. And then, yeah, I want to get the I want to get the plastic boards passived and whatnot. But I kind of realized I might not need to do the passive plastic boards because they're extremely fast to craft now that I have LCRs. So a little neat trick that I found with the ME interfaces. I don't think this was possible when I last played Nomifactory back in the 1.6 days. You can split the fluid and item ingredients can actually split to different sides of the interface. So the interface will try and push them to a valid destination. So this is an input bus, and the only valid destination for items is to be pushed into this input bus. But then I have a quadruple input hatch connected to a pipe, and the only valid destination for fluids is the pipe. So the ME interface will push fluids into the pipe and then into the hatch, and it will push items into the bus. So the only thing I have in this LCR right now is plastic sheets, is the plastic circuit boards and they're both plastic circuit board. But yeah, basically the two plastic circuit boards. So that's actually kind of nice because the way that I used to have to do it was to use ingredient buffers. Was to have an LCR per circuit and then use ingredient buffers. This LCR has a programmed circuit card in it, and I might actually be able to get away. With having a. I mean, the one upside of using ingredient buffers is you can put an interface on each side, on like 5 sides of the ingredient buffer or whatever. But yeah, I'm debating what to do with LCRs because I don't think, as much as I want to passive a load of stuff, I think some stuff is just sensible to craft because it's fast enough. I'm fairly sure these, so if we have a look, for example, so these will run at, what will they run at? So they'll run at 30 divided by 4, so that'll be like 9 and a bit seconds, won't it? Something like that. I can't do math. Yeah, so they'll run, so 7.5 seconds. That's at MV, and then divide that by 4 again, 1.8 seconds. So at HV, and actually these are running at EV. No, this is running at IV. So I got the EV energy hatch off camera in between episodes. So this is actually being one ticked, I think. When it does plastic circuit boards, I think it's one ticking them. So yeah, I don't know. There is some stuff where it makes sense for me to still craft it, especially with large chemical reactors because of the perfect overclocks. I'll definitely be passiving blast furnaces, and I'm definitely passiving and level emitting chemicals. So anyway, sorry, I should probably do this in some sort of structure. So we'll start with the biggest thing that I've been working on, which is, you may notice that there are 2 new chunks and they look very populated. So this is oil. This is my oil setup now. So basically I have 2, now that I'm in EV, I can get the tier 2 fluid drilling rigs. Why aren't you working? Oh, it's just full. Okay. I can get the tier 2 fluid drilling rigs. And in the Void world, there is infinite raw oil. And these are currently running at HV. But if I overclock, and they produce 1.28 buckets per second, but if I overclock them to EV, which is the maximum you can... Actually, it says accepted hatch tier, so you might be able to overclock them to IV, maybe. because it says the maximum accepted hatch tier is EV. But I don't think it bars you from putting more than one hatch on. So you might be able to overclock them to IV with EV energy hatches. And then after that, you'll have to get the next tier. Oh, actually, no, I think you can only overclock them once, actually, because of the... Yeah, so if we look at... So they get a 16 times bonus normally, and then they get 24 times when overclocked. So I think basically, yeah, I think... Oh, allowed voltage tier, not allowed hatch tier. I'm dumb. So yeah, so basically, these are producing 1.28, but if we put EV energy hatches on here, or just put another HV energy hatch or whatever, if we run these at EV, they'll output... I don't know how much more than that, but basically they'll output 24 times whatever the base yield of the infinite raw oil vein is. I can't remember what it is. But the bottleneck is actually distillation towers. So we have a quad distillation tower set up here, which distills the raw oil into its next products. So, which is basically sulfuric light fuel. What is it? So it's basically sulfuric gas, which turns into refinery gas, sulfuric naphtha, which turns into naphtha, sulfuric light fuel, which turns into light fuel, and sulfuric heavy fuel, which turns into heavy fuel. The byproduct we get from desulfurizing these is hydrogen sulfide. So basically, you put these in a chemical reactor with hydrogen, and you get hydrogen sulfide. I am stockpiling this to make sulfuric acid. You can also just electrolyze it to get the hydrogen back and loop the hydrogen. But oil appears to be massively hydrogen positive. So I'm not really too concerned. I have a passive electrolyzer set up over here that's electrolyzing the products that we don't use. So ethane, propane, butane, and benzene. Benzene is level emitted. Benzene is something that we do use, but we're not using it for power, which means we can afford to send excess into the electrolyzer. But the best one out of all of these is butane, because I think that gets like 10 buckets or something like that. What is it? It gets 10 buckets per thing, which is the best out of all these electrolyzers, if I recall. So basically, and then the next step is we need to crack these. Oil is a rather big chemical chain, so all I'm gonna basically say is that I did lightly hydrocracked light fuel. This is because I'm gonna make high octane gasoline, and this gets us the most octane per thing. So octane you can only get from the hydrocracked light fuel, and basically the lightly hydrocracked gets you more octane per bucket than the severely cracked. So that's why I did that. And then I did lightly steam cracked naphtha. And the reason is that it gets you more butadiene. It gets you more butadiene and more. I think it was more butadiene and more toluene. I can't remember. But yeah, it gets you more butadiene than the severely steam cracked variant. And then for heavy fuel, we're doing severely steam cracked heavy fuel, which again I believe is because it got more butadiene and propane, if I recall. But yeah, basically you really just need to look at the recipe if you're going to do oil. So I didn't do oil in GTNH. In GTNH, I went the bio route and did plastics from biomass and all that. I did plastics from biomass, I think. So this is the first time I've ever done oil in GregTech, and yeah, I will say it's a fairly it is a setup that took me a fair while to sort of understand. It's basically just going through all the chemical recipes and finding out what gives you the highest quantities of the products that you're interested in. So after the bottleneck for the setup after the DTs is the oil crackers. So the oil crackers get a 10% energy reduction per coil tier after copper nickel. So these are running nichrome coils, which means they get a 20% reduction. That makes them really nice to overclock. but I still am kind of limited in my ability to overclock them at the moment. They're all running, 2 of them are running at HV and 1 of them is running at EV. The reason I'm running 1 of them at EV is because it only drains 192 EU, which means overclocking it to EV is, like, not an issue. But the others draw, I think it's 240 or something. What are you? 384, and I think this bottom one is 240. Actually, no, the bottom one is 384 as well, I think. So I don't really want to overclock those to EV right now. So yeah, so that is, and by the way, I'm probably doing an extremely horrible job of explaining oil. This is literally the first time I've done it, and yeah, it fried my brain. And then what happens is we basically just send... So the annoying thing about the severely steam-cracked fuels is if you want to get all the byproducts, you basically need maximum height distillation towers. So this one I think is doing the steam-cracked heavy fuel, and this one's doing the steam-cracked naphtha. And then this one is... And then this smaller one is the hydro-cracked light fuel. So I am level emitting these. So for this one, for example, I'm level emitting it on octane, just 3,999 millibuckets of basically almost a super tank's full of octane, and also methane. A lot of these produce methane. It's not going to be my primary source of methane, but it will be. Well, it will be for now. But I'm planning to do rotten flesh to methane from DML as well. And then on this one, on these 2, I'm level emitting butadiene, because we'll be using that to make styrene butadiene rubber. And ethylene for plastics. And propene, which will be for epoxy, because I'm going to go the oil route for epoxy rather than the bio route, because I did the bio route in GTNH. So yeah, so basically what I then have down here is... because distillation towers give you all of the fractions of a particular input, if any one of these level emitters goes off or comes on, then I will get all of the products out of the distillation tower. So the way that I've set up down here is I have a bunch of super tanks, and they all have excess fluid voiding enabled, so then none of them clog. But they are level emitted, so we won't be like running the DTs permanently and wasting power, essentially. But yeah, as you can see, we have a nice healthy fill up of stuff. And I am super tanking the waste products, or the waste... Well, butane is not a waste product. I need that for high octane gasoline. But the ethane and the butane, I am tanking those, even though I don't use them anywhere except to turn into hydrogen. And that's just because otherwise they'd be wasted. You know, they'd be voided. So might as well keep a stockpile. Same with the propane as well. But yeah, so it's... Oil is interesting. Oil is interesting. I'm kind of glad I've done it. You get a lot of useful stuff out of it, but yeah, it does take a little bit of... It took me like a couple of days to get it all set up and whatnot. And it's an absolute stainless steel sink as well. These 2 max height DTs... actually, they're not even max height. They can go 1 layer higher, actually. These... Yeah, I think they can go 1 layer higher. These cost me an absolute fortune in stainless steel. So the oil crackers are stainless steel as well. So yeah, oil costs a lot of stainless steel to like fully do it. So that's the biggest thing that I've been doing is oil. I have also the next biggest thing would be that there's been a massive cleanup up here. So the oil setup is completely gone now. Our little LV oil setup that we had to give us plastics and sulfuric acid, that's completely gone. The MV auto crafting setup is completely gone. And the HV one is shrinking very slowly. I could completely replace it, I just haven't been bothered, to be honest. I've been busy doing other stuff. So yeah, basically this is slowly shrinking. I should get rid of all of this now because I have the complete ore processing setup down there that I showed you guys last time. I'm gonna take you though, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you. That was dumb. And you. So I'm gonna take these back though. And there is also. What is that? Oh, that's just water. Yeah, I need to move that. So this is my water source. I just have a infinite water cover on a super tank. I will probably upgrade this to a bigger super tank. And then shove the infinite water cover back on. It produces, I can't remember what it is. It's like, it doesn't tell you, unfortunately, without going on looking at the tooltip. I think it produces like, yeah, it produces, I think that's, what is that? That's 16 buckets a second. It produces 16 buckets a second of water. Which is the best water until you get the Aquarius accumulator from thermal expansion, because that will produce water as fast as you can pull it out. So it has, from at least from what I've read in the quest book, it has no limit on water production. It is literally as fast as you can pull the water out of the machine. So the next thing to go really is going to be this setup. But it is still my main source of oxygen, so I need to get air distillation set up, which will be my new source of oxygen and hydrogen. But yeah, so up here it's mostly just been getting rid of stuff, which is good. I've not moved the clean room yet because I just haven't been bothered. But we do have an EV cutting machine now, so then we can make EV energy hatches. But these are still HV because I need radon to get the EV laser engraver and EV circuit assembler. So, and radon is something initially I'm going to get it from air because I don't really want to make the tier 2 microminer yet. So I'm going to get it from Ender Air for now. And then later on, when we need it in larger quantities, we'll obviously just be able to get it from the microminer. But what I've had to do with the tanks from up there, the sulfuric acid and the plastic tanks, is I want to empty them, but I obviously don't want to waste it. So I've just put extract-only storage buses on, and I've set them to negative priority, so they will be pulled from first when the network needs these. And then really all I've done sort of over here is, yeah, this LCR, which is really just for me to shove miscellaneous recipes into. I tested it with these, but there are some recipes that you really only need like once or twice to then unlock a better version of that recipe, like with PTFE, for example. Or there's some stuff that you really only need to make ad hoc. So that's what this is going to be for. And then I have a blast furnace here as well, because there's certain metals that I, just kind of want to make, that I need to make for like a single purpose, but it's not big enough to warrant passiving them. It's only I have to make them every now and again. And this is also my progression blast furnace as well. So basically, when I come to make my very first RTM alloy, it will be in this blast furnace, etc. So again, it's just like my manual crafting blast furnace for the very rare occasions when I need it. And then the other change is and I've started passiving the plastics, the plastic solids, so the plates and the bars. I did originally have PE and PVC plates passived up there with LV fluid solidifiers, but now they're passive down here. And then the drawers just have extract-only storage buses stuck on the back of them. But yeah, this is the other big thing that I've been working on, is passive chemicals. So now that LCRs are fairly cheap to craft because I have easy access to PTFE, I've passived PTFE. That's what these two reactors are, the tetrafluoroethylene and then the polytetrafluoroethylene, and hydrofluoric acid, which is needed for PTFE, but it is needed for a few other things as well. Now, the interesting thing is, I actually originally tried doing this in the single step with dual EV energy hatches. So you can do this in a Circuit 24 recipe at IV. If if I look at you. So I tried doing this recipe, but it's 27 seconds at IV. Now, because of the perfect overclocks on LCRs, this core form recipe is actually faster, because I believe it's an LV recipe, if I recall. Yeah, it's an LV recipe, which means it actually runs it in... I'm running it at HV, so it runs it in 0.25 seconds. So doing the core form route to get tetrafluoroethylene is actually faster at the moment. It does mean an extra LCR, but shrug. It's not an issue. And then I have sulfuric acid, and I have polyethylene. And then down here I have vinyl chloride and polyvinyl chloride. And these are all level emitted. Is there a hole still? There is. So these are all just level emitted. So for example, the vinyl chloride and the polyvinyl chloride, they are level emitted together, just using a red alloy cable off a level emitter. And same with the PTFE. So why are you not? Okay. And the PTFE as well is the same thing. So the tetrafluoroethylene and the polytetrafluoroethylene are level emitted together off a thing. And then we have then we're basically level emitting the hydrofluoric acid, and this level emitter for the core, because chloroform is only used for PTFE, so the level emitter here is just level emitting based off PTFE. And then we're just using RFP2P for the inputs. But yeah, these are all running at HV, except for this first one, because I couldn't be bothered changing it to HV after running it at IV. So it's fine. I don't know why... What are we running low on? We're running low on something. We are running low on chloroform. And we are running low on chloroform because we're running low on chlorine. Yeah, we're running low on chlorine. Okay, that's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem I need to sort. I have really bad chlorine production right now. So I replaced the saltwater drilling rig in the overworld with a tier 2 as well. But I really need to actually scale up the actual chlorine setup, because at the moment it is still just these electrolyzers here, and they're not very fast. So yeah, I do need to deal with that. But yeah, I think that's kinda... I think that's kind of where I was actually... Let's check my list. Yeah, so really the biggest chunk of time has actually been oil. That's been the biggest chunk of time. I do have the EV energy hatch now, which means we can progress a bit. So there will be... I think realistically, I've just been sort of getting a load of the infrastructure laid down these last couple of days. And... basically and now that I have a load of the infrastructure laid down, I can really easily spit out these blast furnaces now, and I can really easily spit out LCRs now. So now I can actually kind of speed on. I did actually realize, so this was sort of bringing in any rutile dust that came from ore processing, but I also realized I was stocking up on ilmenite dust because I wasn't doing anything with it. So this blast furnace just takes ilmenite dust and processes it into rutile dust to then be sucked up into the titanium setup. But yeah, so I think realistically, I have everything I want out of oil except for high-octane gasoline. Now, the only things that I'm missing for high-octane gasoline is acetone, really. Methanol I can make. I can either passive it from the biomass line or from... How much does it need? It only needs a bucket per 20 buckets. And then this needs... This turns 20 buckets into 22 buckets. And then this turns 20 buckets into 32. So yeah, the high-octane gasoline in Nomifactory is decent. But yeah, refinery gas we get from the oil setup. Naphtha we get from the oil setup. And raw oil... So raw oil outputs more naphtha than it does the other fluids. So different types of oil output the various... fuels in different ratios. But yeah, naphtha, I believe naphtha is actually the best for high octane gasoline, if I recall. The only thing I don't have, but yeah, methanol we can also craft if we really wanted to. So we could do it this way, which, yeah, we could do it this way, which we actually get carbon monoxide from distilling never air. Or we can just do it this way. Carbon, which we can get from various sources. We get it as a byproduct from oil, but we can also get it from diamonds, which are free. And so we could do it this way as well. But yeah, methanol, I don't think I'll go. I mean, there are other things we get out of biomass as well, and I do need acetone. Acetone is the last product that we need. Now we can make it this way, which is oxygen, benzene, propene, and phosphoric acid. But the problem is, so these two we get from oil, which is fine, and this is free essentially. And it does get us phenol, which we also need for epoxy, I believe. I don't like the idea of relying on phosphorus for power, though, is the problem. I think that's probably my primary issue. I don't like the idea of relying on phosphoric acid for power, because phosphorus is a bit of a pain to get. Oh, and I screwed this up again. I can't figure out how to lock these. It says, I heard that you just shift right-click, but it's not locking them, so, eh. So yeah, I still need to figure out how I'm going to get acetone in any sort of bulk quantity. I mean, hog doesn't need a lot of it. It only needs a raw gasoline. It only needs a bucket. So yeah, it needs 1 bucket of acetone per... Yeah, I think it's 1 bucket of acetone per 32 buckets of hog. So we are probably fine to just go down the bio route. What is it? Distillation tower. Oh no, we have to go down the wood route to get acetone if we want to get it passively. So yeah, I am actually contemplating doing a wood setup, but not for power. I will not do benzene power this run, I will not do benzene power this run because I want to do something different. But I am still inclined to get a tree farm set up down here, and then do charcoal byproducts distillation, just as another source of various chemicals. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna call it there, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the little update. And I am actually having a lot more fun playing this way, being able to just sort of do stuff. You know, I've been doing it for the last week. The upload schedule's been I haven't exactly kept to the upload schedule that I originally said, but that's mostly just because of work, which is an unfortunate reality. But yeah, I have actually been when I have been playing, I have actually been having a lot more fun, just being able to sort of crack on and then kind of give you guys the finished version rather than the sort of muddled version. But yeah, I think the next thing for me will be, I really want to get the air distillation stuff set up. I want to finish what's on the to-do list first. Yeah, I want to finish what's on the to-do list first. Like I said, I'm still debating whether or not that will be a thing. And for SMDs, I at the very least want to passive the inputs for them, if not the SMDs themselves, and that I'm literally like 5 minutes away from. So I just need another alloy smelter or another couple of alloy smelters. So yeah, I'm going to finish what's on the to-do list first, and then the next thing will be air distillation. At the very least, I'm going to do normal air, which comes from the overworld or the void dimension. You can get it here as well. And ender air, so then I can get radon. And it also gets you nitrogen dioxide and a few other useful chemicals as well. And it's a source of deuterium, which, as you saw, we did set up previously in the end, but you can get you can also get it from the distillation tower as well, and I think you get more of it when you do it from the distillation tower. And then yeah, I'll skip never air for now because we don't want it for progression. So I'll probably skip never air for now. So we'll probably just do overworld air, so then we can get rid of the nitrogen and oxygen setup up there, and then we'll do ender air. So liquid ender air. So liquid ender air gets us The things that we probably want is so it gets us a lot of EBF gases as well. So it gets us helium, xenon, krypton. I don't know if tritium. Oh no, tritium is used in the EBF. Yeah, tritium is actually used in the EBF later on, in later game. So yeah, so basically it gets us the EBF gases to make various recipes faster, and also gets us radon. But it does need 200 buckets, which I'm not sure. Well, actually, we can feed that in with an ME input hatch, actually, so that should be fine. And then liquid air, which is the other thing we'll do. And the way you make this is in a vacuum freezer. It needs IV power, which is why we needed EV energy hatches. But yeah, this is expensive. It's very expensive on power at the moment. I'm only going to build one vacuum freezer and one distillation tower, I think, is probably how I'm going to do Ender Air for now. But liquid air is, so it gets you a load of nitrogen, a load of oxygen, it gets you carbon dioxide, which, yeah, I mean, shrug, I'll probably just stockpile it. It gets us helium, again, for blast furnaces, and it gets us argon, which is another blast furnace gas, which does speed up. Does it speed up anything I already have access to? Not really. Yeah, not really. It doesn't spin up anything. It doesn't speed up anything that we're making right now, but it will do soon enough. It will do soon enough. So, yeah, so basically, I definitely want to get liquid air and I want to get liquid ender air. I am aware that doing it with micro miners is probably better, or doing it with the tier 2 micro miner is probably easier, but I don't want to go down the micro mining rabbit hole quite yet. I'll probably once I get the once I get the clean room moved, I'm not going to move the clean room until I get EV circuit assemblers and EV circuit assembler and EV precision laser engravers. So once I do that, then that's probably when I'll start looking at micro miners, because that's probably the last big thing to move from up there to down here is the clean room. And then after that, I'll start looking at micro miners, I think. I probably want to wait to IV, so then we can automate the extended crafting tables. So then we don't have to manually craft the tier 2 micro miner. But yeah, anyway, sorry, I was going to end this episode a few minutes ago. But yeah, if you stuck around, thank you very much for watching. And I hope you're all having a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one with hopefully quite a bit more progress. Right. Have a good one, guys. See you later.